Setting off on a self-styled kleptocracy tour of London.
The purpose of the tours is to highlight this issue, highlight the avalanche of dirty money that is coming to our shores.
First stop is Knightsbridge, home to Harrods department store and a favourite neighbourhood of Russian and Middle Eastern billionaires.
So yeah, here we are, One Hyde Park, just on your right. You can see just the other side of the tube station.
Each apartment at One Hyde Park sells for upwards of $100 million. One is owned by Leonid Fedun, a chief executive of Russian oil giant Lukoil.
Fedun may be a titan of Russian industry, but his business practices are far from exemplary. Lukoil has been involved in high-profile money laundering and tax evasion scandals.
Campaigners say the huge leak of data from Panama-based law firm Mossack Fonseca has helped to lift the veil of secrecy offered by tax havens, and the information has allowed them to add new stops on the kleptocracy tour.
The secrecy of corporate establishments in these tax havens, it is the origin of criminal proceeds coming into our country.
Next stop is a former London Underground station. It was purchased from the British Ministry of Defence for $76.5 million by Ukrainian billionaire Dmytro Firtash, an ally of former President Viktor Yanukovych, who was charged with bribery in 2014 by the FBI. An extradition request from the United States is still being heard in an Austrian court.
We have a situation whereby the UK says that it is in its interests to see a democratic, prosperous, Western-aligned Ukraine, and yet here we have the British government selling a chunk of our capital to one of the men who was most closely aligned to the previous regime, a close ally of Vladimir Putin.
As world leaders gather in London, campaigners aim to highlight the pivotal role the British capital plays in hiding wealth from the taxman and law enforcement. Organisers are putting on 7 so-called kleptocracy tours ahead of the anti-corruption summit, and they're proving to be a popular alternative insight into the British capital. And the organisers say that if summit host David Cameron waters down commitments to end corruption, his London home, number 10 Downing Street, will become the next stop on the tour. Henry Ridgwell for VOA News, London.